ever wondered how you could keep your Final Cut library small? Today we're going to answer that question. There are a few things that you can do depending on your preferences and your situation. The first thing you can do is change your import settings. You want to go to Preferences, Import. The things you want to look for here is first, make sure Leave Files in Place is checked. Leaving the files in place means that the files are going to stay exactly where you're importing them from. If you have Copy to Library storage location checked, then Final Cut Pro is going to store the media wherever you have the library preference set up. We'll get to that in a minute. The next thing that you want to take a look at is, do you have Create Optimized Media or Create Proxy Media checked? If you have either of those checked, Final Cut Pro is going to make new media files, and once again it is going to store those in your library or wherever you have it set up in your library preferences. The next thing you can do is change your library preferences. So where and how do you do that? Once you make a new library, you click on the library file, make sure it is highlighted, then go over here and where it says Modify Settings, click on that. It is here that you can change any or all of these, and depending on how you have them set up, will or will not affect your library size. For me, I like to make sure the media and cache is set up somewhere other than going to my library. The next one you want to check is your backups. For me personally, I want the backups on a drive other than the one that I'm editing off of. Why is that? I want the backups on another drive so that if the drive I'm working on gets lost or fails, I will have another copy of my library somewhere else. Backups is exactly what it sounds like. It's kind of like the autosave for Final Cut Pro. Each time it saves another copy of your library, it's making a backup. So be sure that's not going to your library. Lastly, the motion content is if you have any effects, you want to make sure that those also aren't in your library. Those are the two main ways to keep your library size down while you're currently editing. Just be sure you know where everything is being stored if it's not being stored in the library, because some of these things can really mess with the library if they get lost. My final tip for keeping your library size down is something that you don't want to do until you're done with all your edits and you're ready to archive your library. And that is deleting generated files. To do that, go to File, Delete Generated Library Files. And here you can delete any proxy media, optimized media, or your unused or all render files. Honestly, if you don't see yourself going back to your library anytime soon, unless there's an emergency, I would just delete all of them. And then hit OK and Final Cut Pro will do its thing. That's all I have for y'all today. Let me know down in the comments if any of those tips helped you. And if this is your first time here, be sure to hit the subscribe button and turn that notification bell, and we will see you in the next film. Have a great day, guys.